Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. That is Jack. I'm Conrad. This is the 45 match week 20-something. Man City at this point have played 30 matches. Spurs have played 27. City at one point has had 2 games in hand. Now they're 3 games ahead of half these. I don't know what is happening. I can't. We do a lot of prep for these shows ordinarily, and it doesn't matter because nothing makes any sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games of consequence tomorrow and Monday. And I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I think we could legitimately close our eyes and like the Premier League pickups that they give as an ad every match here in the United States for NBC. We could just close our eyes, put random numbers, and I think that'd be a better chance than overthinking trying to guess how these matches are going to happen. Because without fans, there's no consistency, home and away form, and it makes things much harder to guess. And I mean, today obviously we saw with Wilder officially being removed as shifted out of manager, some clubs are really suffering from not having as many fans. So. It's a different season.
The pressure on the club to not remove him would have been enormous had there been fans in the stands. Like there's no way they make that decision at this stage after what he's done for them.
And I think it's also a case of are they even here if there are fans? And I don't think they're here if there are fans because they make such a difference for certain clubs. Yeah. So it's unfortunate that he's gone. We can talk about that more in another video and later in the video today. But interesting league right now.
So let's start with Southampton and Brighton. So back on November 6th, Southampton sent out that tweet, "Stop the count." They were top of the table. And now they are on the verge of being dragged into a relegation scrap by Brighton, who are now level on points with Fulham, ahead on goal difference, I think, by 6, right?
And 2 matches in hand.
Southampton have just one win in 5. 14 points with 33. 14th place with 33 points. Brighton 0 wins on 5, level on 26 with Fulham in 17. So Burnley got that critical win over Everton today. That puts them 7 clear of the drop. So Southampton stopped the count all the way now down to potentially on the verge of being in a relegation scrap.
Yeah, and I mean Brighton are looking at them as a side to drag towards them.
Get healthy on.
Yeah, and I mean they have 1 game in hand on them, 2 in hand on Fulham. So they'll be very confident that they're not really a relegation side, but I mean, having 2 games in hand is great and all, but the pessimist Brighton fans out there would say that's just an opportunity to have -6 XG in 2 losses.
Well, look at their last 5 though. So they drew with Burnley, that's somebody you're fighting against, right? They drew with Villa, good result, I suppose. They lost to Palace, they lost to West Brom. And then Leicester. That's not as surprising.
I think,
but those are 3 matches that they could have picked up points and been in a much more comfortable position.
Both of these teams play nice football. I love their managers. They have some pretty good players and spots. They've been struggling with injuries. And there are 2 sides I want to see in the Premier League. There aren't sides that I don't want to see in the Premier League. I think every side that's been in the Premier League and could be in the Premier League with the exception of Burnley, is a fun side to watch. You enjoy their matches.
Burnley looked good today. Everton makes everybody look good when they decide not to play.
I mean, Everton, I think, are just preeminently expecting Liverpool to drop points against Wolves on Monday. So they're like, all right, we got to get ahead of the curve. I think that hopefully it's a fun match. I think these are the kind of teams that I really like in the Premier League as your mid-table sides, even if they're relegation threatened, because they're not going to be the ugly West Broms. And I have no issue with you West Brom fans, West Brom players, but it's just Sam Allardyce just does not play the most attractive football. So I think this is going to be a good match. I expect this to be probably a draw, something like that. It's really tough to pick a winner in this one, and I think a draw would be very welcome for these sides at this point in the year. That there's 10 matches left for some. Just get as many points as you can. Get to that 40 points. You'd love that.
Yeah, I think Brighton will come away with this one. That's what I'm going to go with. 2-1 Brighton. Leicester, Sheffield United. We talked a little bit about Wilder here. Leicester haven't looked great, but they're still winning 3 of their last 5. They've got the Burnley draw, and then they beat Brighton, we just spoke about, 2-1, and then they got the Arsenal, kind of a bad loss, 3-1. But I don't. Sheffield United, this is a prime opportunity for them to just kind of come out angry and pull one over on a Leicester City side that has just been not playing all that great.
Yeah, I mean, they are having reminiscent memories of last season when they just kind of flamed out and they were looking at a very comfortable top 4 finish, and now they might be looking at West Ham, who with a win are 2 points behind you in their game in hand. So there's a lot of pressure behind you. I think even teams as low as Liverpool may be making serious pushes. So they need to get these. This is a must-win for Leicester. I'm sorry. I mean, if you're actually trying to tangibly improve as a football club, you have to get top 4 this year. You don't have to do anything, but making top 4 this year would be a genuine improvement on position last year and put you back into the Champions League, because this is a talented team when it's fully healthy. It's not fully healthy though, and
they're too thin.
Yeah,
they're too thin,
and that's a product of you missed the Champions League last year. How much more depth could you have added in the transfer market? How many more players would look at you as an option? This is a serious must-win, and for Sheffield United, people are writing them off now that Wilder's gone. If they have any desire to be in the Premier League still, this is. I mean, you have 10 must-win matches pretty much, because even if you win all 10 of your last matches, you'll still only get to 44 points. And I think that'd be probably safe if you went on a 10-match win streak. But they have left themselves really no room for leeway at this point. And with their schedule remaining, this is the kind of match that's just, yeah, it sucks that this is a must-win for you, but you have to win.
Yeah, I think it's Leicester. They figure out a way to get healthy. They'll be happy to play against the side that's lacking in confidence and still can't score a whole heck of a lot. London Derby, North London Derby, Arsenal Spurs. These two teams have been so inconsistent throughout this season. And right now, Spurs are in really, really good form. Bale, Son, Kane look magnificent up front. Arsenal, we talked about their frailties in the midfield and lack of creativity. They've really solved that. But I don't know what's happening with Smith Rowe. Is he healthy? Is he not healthy?
Yeah.
I can't recall what the last is. And Odegaard looks pretty good. But I think Spurs are going to take this. I think I don't see Mourinho putting the brakes on here. I think he's going to let him run.
Yeah, they're going to park the bus now. You just had a bit of optimism about a Jose Mourinho performance. I think Gareth Bale being borderline world class should not be a surprise, but for some people it is. He's a very talented player, and he's playing like it. You didn't spend, $13 million on his wage for this one season on loan just for him to show up and be like, hey, nice Twitter return message. He's actually very good. Play him. And I think Odegaard had a phenomenal goal against, I believe it was Olympiacos in the Champions League. I think they have the rematch against them right now. He's getting into form for them, so even if they don't have Smith Rowe, they've got him. Pepe has been in and out of getting back into the side, back into form. Willian has been showing up. We mentioned his occasional Ronaldinho pass. All that being said, though, I think
when Jacques is not clanking the ball in off his own player or opposing players into the back of the net,
I think
he's been good.
Yeah, all that being said, so there's a lot of positives for Arsenal. So I think I'm gonna take a draw probably, just because it's not because it's at home, but I just think Spurs are inconsistent for me, and seeing them win 4 in a row would be too much of a shock, honestly. It'd be like, whoa, what's happening? You're actually making a serious top 4 push in your Spurs, which I think would be very good for them though, because if you get those 3 points, level on matches played with Everton, and if West Ham drop their points in their next match, then you go 5th, and that'd be a really just kind of a huge result, because then you open the door where if you win your 2 games in hand on Chelsea, you'd pass them into the top 4. Which is crazy to think about, but right now Spurs have the keys to get into the top 4 in their hands. They just need to win their matches. I think it's going to be a draw, though.
Spurs. United, West Ham.
Ooh.
I don't like talking about United because I'm always wrong. But honestly, they've got Rashford, maybe. Martial out. I think Cavani is out. Pogba is out. I don't think De Gea is going to play. West Ham are in good shape. Jesse Lingard, due to the loan situation, can't play against his parent club. But United are playing, West Ham, I should say, are playing really, really good. And I think this is going to have to be one of those top 6, park the bus, cannot run forward, really can't do much creatively because they don't have any real strength up front. Right
for
now.
West Ham or for Liverpool?
Man United.
Or, sorry,
for Man United.
Okay. I don't know, I said Liverpool. I was looking at the next slide, I guess, too prematurely. I'm really interested in what mentality they take because they're better than West Ham, even with these injuries. And they're Manchester United at home. Yeah, there's no fans, but
they're terrible at home.
You're Manchester United at home.
That's why you bet against them.
Maybe. I don't know. I think that this is it's really tough to gauge what I feel about this Man United team. As you mentioned, they're impossible to predict. One week they'll beat Man City, and then the next they'll. I mean, is that their most recent match? Yeah, it's crazy that Man City have played 2 matches since then, and Man United are about to play their next match after that. So,
well, the West Ham looked really good against City. They were unfortunate not to get better result out of it.
Yeah, I mean, the common denominator between these two sides is a recent match against Man City, both at the Etihad. One side won, one side conceded 2 goals, and without Lingard, that's actually a huge loss. So I think I'm actually going to go Man United in this one, which would be a big point for them and for all the other top 4 chasers: Everton, Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea, Leicester. Would all be very happy to see that team drop points.
Yeah, I think this will be a draw. It's like a 1-1, 0-0, classic ugly. Nobody's going to be exposed. I'm not going out and saying Man United are going to get exposed. I think they'll be just happy to get the point out of this. Wolves, Liverpool. Liverpool looked really good in Europe. They looked really bad in the Premier League. They got 2 consecutive 2-0 wins over Leipzig. Fabinho being at the base of that midfield changes the way Liverpool play. They have 2 orthodox center backs that they trust, I think, in Phillips and Oblak. Kabak. And then Wolves are, when they score, they play really, really well. The problem is we've talked about this all the time. You know, they've struggled since Jimenez went out. You know, they're sitting right now 13th, 35 points, and -9 goal differential. They only scored 28 goals all season. That's not good enough. I think Liverpool are going to be a little bit more confident coming into this one. Wolves play everybody tough, but they've got, they're coming off, they're winless in 3 with a draw, a loss, and a draw. The loss against City, it was bad. It was 4-1. And then 0-0 Villa, 1-1 Newcastle.
Yeah, they'll be frustrated to play Liverpool at this particular form because they don't score goals as freely as they do when they have Jimenez, because he's just such a complete forward. He links up the play for them. He scores goals for them. He's an aerial threat. He's a pretty good attacking threat as well. He's back in training, but he's still a ways away. I think we would be surprised to see him play this season, but I think next season it's looking good that he could be back, which would be a big deal because gruesome injury, but he's still a phenomenal player. So you can only hope that he returns back to his best as soon as it's healthy for him. For Liverpool, I mean, Fabinho changed everything against Leipzig, and I think with Kabak and Phillips, you have to play them. If one of them gets magically hurt because of the center back curse, play Ben Davies. I'm sorry. Do not relegate Fabinho to the defense again because it freed up Thiago. It made Wijnaldum a bit more liberated because we forget that Wijnaldum is not a defensive midfielder. He's for Holland, he plays almost as an attacking midfielder. For Newcastle, which was admittedly 5 years ago now at this point, he was a pretty attacking player as well. He has defensive attributes. He's a very good cycler of the ball. He is in the 97th percentile in passing in all of Europe's top 5 leagues, with like a 92% pass accuracy ratio. He does not turn the ball over, which can frustrate fans because he's less aggressive, but he doesn't really ever make bad decisions. He has great decision making, and him being freed up is a big deal. I'd love to see a midfield of Fabinho, Keita, Thiago, as much as I've gassed up Wijnaldum as one of my favorite players. Liverpool, just with Fabinho as the defensive mid, he's the best defensive midfielder in Europe. I'm comfortable saying that. And he transforms that team. Don't move him. Don't upset a winning formula off of Leipzig. And it also helps your forwards as well. It gives them more comfort, more ability, and stability going forward. Because when Thiago's able to create and have karate kick through balls, it's a better situation for everyone all around.
I think they're better with Firmino if he's iffy right now, or Yoda.
I think you play Yoda for his homecoming to his old stadium. Not just because of that, but also Firmino, been out of form. I think he needs the international break as a little bit of rest. I don't believe that many are going to be traveling from this Liverpool squad. I think they're going to try and maintain everybody, but this is going to be big for Liverpool because I don't think their top 4 hopes are completely written off. There's just so much inconsistency above them. I could very easily see them passing Leicester. As crazy as that is, they're 10 points behind. But you need to get 8-9 wins from your last 10. And this is one of those wins you have to get.
I agree. I think Liverpool will come away with the full 3 on this one. But Wolves will not make it very much fun for them, I don't think.
It's so frustrating with Liverpool to predict, though, is because they look so good in Europe, and then they just drop stinkers in the Premier League. It's amazing how bad they can be when they get to the Premier League.
For 5 losses in a row at home, now 6?
Yes, 6 losses in a row at home.
After going 2+ years without losing.
It was more than, it was like several years. It was 68 matches, which is, if you only play 19 a season,
19
that's
a game,
literally
about 4 seasons.
It's about 4 seasons. And it's crazy.
I'm bad at math.
And I mean, the one thing I'll say about that, the last thing I'll say for this video is I find that hard to blame on Liverpool because was it ever the brick and mortar system of Anfield that was why it was so imperious and difficult to deal with? No, it was the fans. So, I mean, the record obviously is broken and you've lost 6 home matches in a row, but you've lost 6 training matches that happen to be at one location. I'm not taking that as a destruction of Anfield. It's over. When fans are back, hopefully fully next season, I imagine Liverpool's home form will return to 15, 16 wins a year at home, which is going to be a big change for them.
Agreed. That'll do it for us for week whatever, 20-something, 28 maybe, 27, 29, 26, 30. Jack, Conrad, 45. Please comment. Let us know what you think. Subscribe. Look for us on the Twitter at the 45. Take care now.